Howdy guys, so we are back with some PC hardware today. Since I have upgraded my computer now and I've built some stuff before then also, I have some spare parts and I figured out a good use for that would be for my brother-in-law. I know he has been wanting to get a PC for a while. He's not really going to be gaming on it, he's going to be doing some CAD work, but I think a lot of the stuff is going to do him pretty well. We negotiated a pretty good deal for what he's getting and we'll see how he likes it. Anyway, this is going to be just a build video, but this is all the gear that I'm going to be using in it. This is a mini or a micro ATX board. I did have a mini ATX board, but I actually traded with a buddy since he was going all small form factor. So this is a micro ATX motherboard, micro ATX case, and over here we have 16 gigabytes of RAM, a 240 gig SSD, 1 terabyte hard drive, my old Noctua D9L cooler. I'll correct that if that's not the right one, and an old power supply that I kind of have laying around. So this is a good way to make sure that these components are put to good use and not just kind of in my closet for longer than they need to be or just out in a landfill somewhere. So this is pretty exciting. I'm glad that this can get put into use somewhere else. Anyway, this is going to be me just kind of putting this together. I might show some other stuff, but no promises. Let's go. So I'm gonna cut in here real quick. I was led to believe that this board did not have any M.2 slots, so what I actually ended up doing was buying an M.2 to 2.5 inch SSD adapter, which will let you convert any SATA drives, any SATA M.2s into just like a normal SATA 2.5 inch drive. So I bought this adapter. I mean, thankfully it wasn't anything expensive or anything like that. I think it was like 10 bucks or something. But still, it would have been nice to know that this board did indeed actually have an M.2 slot. Partly on me though for not asking for the exact model number so that I could check myself. But I will note that that person did adamantly say that no, in fact, it did not have any M.2 slots. Let's get back to it. Hey, so as you might have been able to see, I had a lot of quirks. Part of it is just me trying to build a computer while I'm filming, which I tend to forget one thing here or there, and then I have to go back and fix it, which is kind of annoying. But one of the more annoying things was the hard drive mounting. It was just pretty strange, and I ended up having to actually open up the booklet to figure out what the instructions were, and it was just too much to deal with. And while I was dealing with all that, it gave me enough time to really think about if I really wanted to put a hard drive in this computer in this year. It just seems kind of crazy. So instead, I'm just, axing that. I'm going to take that out. And I'm also going to take out the 240 gig SSD and throw in this Samsung H17 EVO 1 terabyte SSD that I have. This is the one that used to be in my main computer, but since I upgraded to the NVMe drive, it's just been sitting around. I was looking to maybe do something else with it, but I figured that this would probably be the best use case for somebody that's actually going to use this computer for years. So I'm going to go ahead and install this. Hopefully it will be a lot simpler than the other BS I was dealing with. Let's go. So here we are. I have all of the main components actually in right now. Now it's just left to kind of clean this up. The airflow probably isn't going to be super ideal. This doesn't have the best intake, but I think for how much I paid for it, this is a pretty solid case. Probably maybe the best one that you can get for about 50 bucks or so. It looks clean. It's fairly easy to build in despite me just kind of fumbling around a lot. Anyway, let's get to it. So as you saw, my cleaning up involved kind of throwing a lot of the stuff under in the PSU shroud. And thankfully, since there's no graphics card right now, the cables really, the only one I needed was the SATA power for the SSD, apart from the motherboard. And I think it came together pretty well. Of course, there's really not too much going on. I did let them know that, if you want to game on it, all you got to do is just, throw a graphics card in here when you have some money, and you should be good to go. Because this is essentially the same rig that I was using for the past 3 or so years, minus the graphics card, obviously. So this SSD, well, this SSD is newer than 3 years, but still, you get the gist. I think he's going to be pretty happy about it. And yeah, let me just kind of finish this, install Windows, and get it over to him. But this is probably going to wrap it up here, guys. Sorry that there were so many issues. Let me see if I can recall all the ones that happened. I don't know if you noticed, but the PSU, I installed at the wrong side, or the upside down. I guess it technically could work, but it was going to be intaking from the inside of the case, and since there's like no airflow in there, it was just not going to get any heat or any air, basically. So I had to, undo it, or unmount it, flip it over, and put it back. So this wasn't that big a deal, but that was kind of annoying. And then, figuring out that this motherboard did have an M.2 slot, and after I bought an M.2 adapter, was kind of annoying. And the whole hard drive mounting issue was kind of a pain in the butt. And then I ended up kind of bailing on both of those and just going with an SSD. So it was just a lot of work. Of course, moving the camera around and stuff. It's just, I guess I need to get better at multitasking, making sure that this is going on while I'm doing something, and making both of those kind of at least decent. All right, well, I'm going to put this back together. I think this is going to be okay for thermals because it's just the CPU. The CPU cooler in there is great. I was using that with an overclock. This isn't going to be overclocked just because this motherboard doesn't support that. But I know that for what he's doing, that's going to be more than enough. I think the stock clock for that is 4.2. Now, if you have any questions about this, the case, anything here, feel free to leave a comment down below. Again, sorry that this was not smooth whatsoever. But again, I just want to show you guys all these random projects that I'm working on. All right, if you have any other questions at all, leave them down below. Other than that, you'll have a good day. Bye.